Hi friends, I'm starting an experiment to grow Aerogardens Golden Harvest Cherry Tomatoes and Aerogardens Red Heirloom Cherry Tomatoes in Aerogarden Bounty and do the comparison side by side. I have some pre-seeded pods for Golden Harvest Cherry Tomatoes. I'm going to use this directly. I don't have pre-seeded pods for Red Cherry Tomatoes, but I extracted some seeds in the past, so I'm going to use these seeds. I'm just placing the Golden Harvest Cherry Tomato pre-seeded pods. I am planning to grow 3 plants in each garden. Hopefully I will get enough seeds germinated. For Red Heirloom Cherry Tomatoes, I am placing 3 seeds in each pod and I will start with 3 pods. I have grown red cherry tomatoes from the extracted seeds many times in the past. These seeds that I extracted are working very well. That's it, I have both gardens ready. Let's see how this will turn out. Alright, my gardens are ready. Here is the Golden Harvest and here is the Red Cherry Heirloom tomatoes. It's been 5 days. I got pretty good germination with the Golden Harvest cherry tomatoes. The Red Heirloom cherry tomatoes also germinated well and I got pretty good seedlings. Now that I got nice seedlings, I will start adding the nutrition. I will feed Aerogarden nutrients throughout this cycle as recommended, which is 12 ml with every feeding cycle. It's day 10. Red cherry tomato seedlings are growing very nice and they started developing real leaves. Same thing with Golden Harvest. They are in fact a little bit faster. The growth is a little bit better compared to red cherry tomatoes. It's day 15. Both Red Heirloom cherry tomato plants as well as the Golden Harvest cherry tomato plants are growing very similarly. It's a nice growth so far. Now that the plants are well established, I am going to move these 2 plants to the edges so that I can give them enough space. It's day 20. Golden Harvest cherry tomato plants and Red Heirloom cherry tomato plants are growing at the same pace. They are all looking very similar. It's day 30. The Golden Harvest cherry tomatoes as well as the Red Heirloom cherry tomatoes are growing excellent. All plants have flower buds. But compared to these Red Heirloom cherry tomatoes, I see the flower buds are a little bit advanced on Golden Harvest cherry tomatoes. They started blooming. All Golden Harvest cherry tomato plants have flower buds that are ready to bloom. This is not a huge difference, but Golden Harvest cherry tomatoes are a little bit ahead of red cherry tomatoes. It's day 35. The Red Heirloom cherry tomato plants and the Golden Harvest cherry tomato plants are looking very close, but the Golden Harvest cherry tomato plants are a little bit ahead compared to Red Heirloom. I see the blooming just started on Red Heirloom cherry tomatoes. I see the blooming started on all 3 plants here. Coming to Golden Harvest, lot of flowers bloomed and some flowers even started drying up. That means the cherry tomatoes are coming pretty soon here. So I can see lots of flowers that are drying up and closing up. So definitely these plants are a little bit ahead compared to Red Heirloom. Here I don't see any full bloom yet. They are just getting ready to bloom. The plants are looking bushy and kind of getting overcrowded. So I'm going to give them a little bit of pruning. When I remove the leaves, I will make sure to leave the exact same number of leaves from all these plants so that the comparison will be exactly same. It's day 41. The Red Heirloom cherry tomato plants and Golden Harvest cherry tomato plants are doing very nice, very similar. I see a bunch of flowers on all the plants. Some of them getting dried and some of them just blooming. There are a lot of flower buds. Very similar on red cherry tomatoes as well. Lot of flowers. Some of them started drying up and there is a lot of new blooming and new flower buds. So it's all going very similar so far. It's day 50. Red Heirloom and Golden Harvest are growing at same pace. A bunch of baby tomatoes on Red Heirloom cherry tomato plants. I'm seeing the same on golden harvest as well. There are a bunch of baby tomatoes all over the plants. It's day 60. Both Aerogardens red heirloom cherry tomatoes as well as the golden harvest tomato plants are growing very similar. There are a bunch of tomatoes on all plants. The red heirloom plants have lots of tomatoes, but I feel like the golden harvest tomato plants have more tomatoes. Looks like the golden harvest variety is more productive compared to red cherry tomatoes. Day 75. These are the red cherry tomatoes. I see some tomatoes started ripening now. Coming to golden harvest, I also see some tomatoes started ripening here as well. So these two are very competitive. Day 80, these are the red cherry tomatoes. I see a bunch of tomatoes are pretty close to start harvesting, and a lot of tomatoes are ripening on all plants. Coming to golden harvest, here also I see a couple of tomatoes pretty close to harvesting, and a lot of tomatoes are getting ripened on all plants. So both varieties are growing pretty close. Of course, red cherry tomatoes are leading the race, but golden harvest is pretty close, catching up. It's day 83. A couple of red cherry tomatoes are ripened very well and they are ready to harvest. Coming to golden harvest, I see a couple of tomatoes ready here as well. They are looking bright orange, so they are ready to harvest. So I'm going to harvest tomatoes from both varieties and see how many tomatoes I got from each variety on day 83. I just added a sticky note here so that I can track how many tomatoes I harvested on each day. I'm starting with Aerogarden's red heirloom cherry tomatoes. Let's see. Here is 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think that's it. So I got 12 cherry tomatoes from Aerogarden's red heirloom. Now the golden harvest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12. Wow, it looks like a nice coincidence. I got 12 here as well. I think the remaining are not ready yet. I see a little bit of green spots. So that's pretty much. Here they are side by side. I got 12 red cherry tomatoes and 12 golden harvest cherry tomatoes. So it's a tie on day 83. Day 90. Lot of tomatoes have ripened very well and they're ready to harvest. Look at these plants. They're looking beautiful with lots of colors like red, yellow, orange, green. Wow. Coming to golden harvest, lot of tomatoes have ripened very well and ready to harvest here as well. These plants also looking so beautiful with bright orange or golden orange. I think that's why they are called golden harvest. They really deserve the name golden harvest. So it's time to harvest these tomatoes and see how many tomatoes I get from each variety. Starting with Aerogarden's red cherry tomatoes. Alright, that is all. Wow, that's a lot. Now the golden harvest. Harvesting the golden harvest is little tricky because it's hard to know whether it is ripened or not. But the sign I follow is whether the tomato is completely golden or yellow. So if you look at this tomato, it still has a lot of green spots here, so this is not ready yet. But this tomato doesn't have any green spots on it, so this is completely ripened and it is ready to harvest. That's why I harvested it. In case you harvest the tomato with little green spots, it's totally okay. Just give it another day, it will be ripened very well. That's it. Again, a huge harvest. Here is the harvest side by side, red cherry and golden harvest. Let's see how many tomatoes I got from each variety. Now counting Aerogardens. 3, 6, 9, 45, 51. So I got 51 Aerogardens red cherry tomatoes. Now I am counting golden harvest. 3, 6, 42 and 45. I got 45 golden harvest. It is day 95. Lots of red cherries have ripened well and they are ready to harvest. Same thing with golden harvest. So I'm going to harvest the tomatoes again and count them. Here they are side by side. I got 61 red cherry tomatoes and 72 golden harvest tomatoes. It's day 97. Bunch of tomatoes ripened well and they are ready to harvest. Same thing on golden harvest. A bunch of tomatoes ready here as well. These plants are almost coming to the end of first crop. I'm going to harvest all the tomatoes and count them again. Here is the harvest. I got 30 red cherry tomatoes and 31 golden harvest tomatoes. These plants are done with their first crop. There are only very few tomatoes left. I see only 7 tomatoes left on 3 plants together. So this is pretty much the end of their first crop. Same thing with golden harvest. I see 7-8 tomatoes together from 3 plants. So this is also pretty much the end of their first crop. So the race is complete now. Let's count all the tomatoes together and see who won. Overall, I got 154 red cherry tomatoes and 160 golden harvest cherry tomatoes. That is all about this fun race. Hope you had fun. Thanks for watching. Happy aero gardening.